What's up, everyone? Jake Balloon here with Apocalypse Movies, and I am joined today by Keith Barnes, and we are here to talk about Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yes.
Jacob, after we watched it Thursday night, he did a short little non-spoiler review giving his thoughts. We've been waiting to do a full spoiler breakdown of this movie because it just purely deserves it. Yeah. And we are here to do that. We're going to talk about what our feelings of it, what we thought, positive, negatively, if we have those, that is. And then we're going to kind of break it down. We have a couple things we want to talk about. Actually, there's about 8 of them we want to talk about. Spoiler discussion. So Keith, we saw this on separate times. We tried to go together, but it kind of didn't work out that way. Yeah. What were your general first impressions of the new Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
My first thought was, Keith, calm down. This movie was awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome movie. It's one of the best MCU movies in a long time.
It's one of the best solo movies in quite a while.
Yeah.
It really is. Because you think of Civil War and The Winter Soldier, those are really kind of like Avenger-esque movies.
Yeah.
You know, this is like not a pure solo movie. This is definitely one of the best.
It is. It is. And certainly in terms of just trying to incorporate an existing character that existed outside of the MCU.
And that people are tired of.
That people were tired of.
Yeah.
And I was one of them.
Yeah.
I think this movie, I almost wish, as much as I like The Amazing Spider-Man, did not like Amazing Spider-Man 2, but I kind of wish we didn't get those movies. I would appreciate this. I think everyone would appreciate this one even more because it's that good, and I think it deserves, even though it's getting critically praised.
And it crushed the box office.
It's crushed the box office.
So imagine what it could have.
Exactly. It should, could and should be so much better received than it is.
No, I definitely agree. And going off that, imagine what this movie is going to do, not only for Sony, but the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
Because this, like it's all been said, Infinity War and Avengers 4 is going to wrap up the 22 movie arc that they've set up.
Right.
This new character is going to bring new life into this franchise.
He will.
And he's so young. He's going to be around for a long time. Yeah. It's just going to be so exciting going forward. And like he said, it is amazing. It is so good. From the very beginning, we got something so different. That we got something that we were not expecting in the movie, as far as the Avengers Aftermath scene, which was really, really cool.
Yeah.
And it gave a cool background to the Michael Keaton character as well. Yeah. And then you see, and what I was expecting or not expecting is such a long period of time focusing on Peter Parker in high school, which took up a good chunk of the beginning of the movie. Yeah. And it just shows that Marvel, as well as Sony, they want to rebrand this character. Yeah. They want to make him something different, something exciting, something that is relatable to a hell of a lot of high schoolers. Yeah. And not only them, but us as well, because we all love Spider-Man. He's one of the, if you're to combine DC and Marvel, Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man.
Yeah, you can make a case. Like I said, he's as popular, if not more, than those two guys. Maybe not more, but he's definitely right there.
Well, because he touches all kinds of age ranges.
Absolutely.
And when he came out in the 60s, he was the first teenage superhero. Yeah. And back then, a lot of people were like, teenage superheroes? That doesn't really make sense.
And that was the appeal. Is that he's a kid. He's a kid, like a lot of people that were reading the comics at the time.
Exactly.
Dealing with kid issues. And they nailed all that in this movie.
Oh, it's so perfect. And we both said before we even started this video, hands down, we can get this out of the way, this is the best Spider-Man movie ever made.
Not even close. It's not even close.
It's so fun. It's just that good of a story, that good of a character arc. The way they shaped the character from past versions, and the way they built the movie around Tom Holland's strengths. Yeah. And for me, that is the ultimate positive in this movie. He is going to be an absolute star. He is going to crush not only Spider-Man, but every movie he's in from here on out. Yeah. He is so good, and he's so charismatic, and he's only 19 years old. Right. And the way he kind of captures this character and has the chemistry with the cast around him. Not just as Peter Parker, but Spider-Man as well. It's just so fantastic and fun to watch. Yeah. And we've known for a while, he's going to be Spider-Man, he's this young kid, he's going to bring something different. But we never really truly knew how good he was going to be. Right. And this just shows like what he can bring not only to the Spider-Man franchise, but the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
We got a nice little glimpse of it in Civil War last year.
And he played off a hell of a lot of characters in that movie.
And he did. And he stood his ground against Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, their relationship was so good in this movie.
And they carried it carried it over into this movie. And people forget, Robert Downey Jr. We'll get into it later, but he's a world-class actor. Yep. We've been so used to seeing him playing the superhero, but he's one of the top actors we have on Earth. And Tom Holland is hold the zone, right there with him.
He is right there.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, for me, on top of Tom Holland, I mean, there's so many positives. Like, we can go on and on and on about these. The supporting cast was so good. The young cast they got together, so diverse, so different, and we'll get into that.
Yeah.
The story I thought was really good for a first Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
It was very simple, kind of compressed into this small story, almost like an Ant-Man in a way.
Yeah.
Very personal. Very personal.
Very localized. My kids and we watched the animated Ultimate
show.
Spider-Man show. Really reminded me of that. Smaller scale. Mm-hmm. Like I said, very localized. Almost like the Netflix series.
Yeah, you are right. Yeah,
that you see on TV, very much. It's just stuff he's dealing with right in his school or in his neighborhood, or it's just very small, personal, like you said.
Yeah, and on top of that, because it is personal, you throw in the villain of Vulture, which for me, he's one of the best MCU villains we've seen in a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's very good.
Yeah.
And Michael Keaton obviously adds an extra depth to that. But what Jon Watts was able to bring out of him and kind of character they were able to build, and we don't say that a lot about MCU villains, which makes it so good.
Yeah.
Like we wanted to see who this guy was, and obviously there's that twist that we're going to talk about at some point, which I don't think any of us saw coming.
I did not.
Because there was also a rumor going around that there was something completely different, which threw us off guard. For me, top to bottom, there's just positives all over the place from start to finish. The tone, the comedy is it's spot on for a Spider-Man movie.
Yes.
Not too much, not too little, right in the middle. I mean the Aunt May stuff, Tony Stark, the happy Hogan stuff was really good. The way he integrated him.
It was great to see him back.
Yeah, and the way he kind of took almost a more of a forefront than Tony Stark did.
Yeah,
he was more involved in the Spider-Man life than what Tony Stark did.
He was.
Which was really cool.
I was explaining that to somebody. Somebody, one of my friends back east on Facebook was asking me about those very concerns about, I feel like it's too much Iron Man. I told him, don't worry. It's not. There's more. Tony Stark himself didn't have that much screen time, let alone as Iron Man, even less. And I actually told him exactly that. His driver, Happy Hogan, is in it more than Tony.
And he played a great part, and that not contradicts, but tells people this is not an Iron Man 4.
Yeah.
This is a Spider-Man movie.
Very much.
So, any other positives that kind of really stick out to you that you're just like gushing to talk about?
Oh man, well the action. Just we talk about how smaller and contained, and there's no big world-threatening event happening. The action is much smaller, but it feels bigger.
Yeah.
Because it's Spider-Man. He does all these amazing things with the web and swinging around all over the place.
Swinging from buildings and all that stuff. Yeah.
And the action scenes were very well done. But Washington D.C., the monument scene.
That was really
awesome.
cool. That was really cool. And on top of all the marketing was focusing on that ferry scene.
Yeah.
That might have been the coolest scene in the movie.
I think it was.
As far as like the Spider-Man action.
I think it was. It was. I saw the movie in 3D. I think you did as well.
Yep.
And just when he's up on the top of the monument.
Oh yeah.
And I was, oh God, it was stressing me out. I grabbed my seat like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna fall. That was incredible. He wasn't gonna fall and die.
No. But he acted like he did.
But he felt,
Yeah, Peter Parker's scared of heights. He's horrified of heights.
Yeah, and you see he's going, oh my God, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
So that was a great scene.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's so many things we could talk about, but obviously there are far few movies that are perfect.
Yeah.
And this one is very close as far as a comic book movie goes.
It is.
But are there any kind of negatives that we may be nitpicking at, but something that may have stuck out to you that may have not, brought it down to score or so?
It's very nitpicky.
Yeah.
Very. I mean, because I was trying. Even though the movie was over, I do this with a lot of movies I watch. I try to not to get too high on them. But I loved it. I can't help how you feel about how some of the movies we see. So this one, the only thing I really thought it was that the scene in the warehouse where he got stuck in the
the damage control.
The damage control place. Yeah, it was a little long. It was a good scene. It was great. I thought it was very cute. Him talking to the AI.
Karen,
voiced by Jennifer Connelly,
who is the wife of Vision. Which is really cool.
Jarvis also.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Which was great. I saw that.
Nice little Easter egg.
Yeah, that was great. I thought that was hilarious to see. So it was a good scene, but I thought it did stretch a little bit.
I can see how that happened.
That up a little.
And it might have been the fact of Peter Parker, not really knowing how to get out, but also the whole marketing damage control as far as the TV show coming and all that type of stuff. But for me, there are two things that I really thought about. One, I wasn't a huge fan of the Flash character, Flash Thompson. he was a little bit, and I know what they were trying to go for,
right.
but he just kind of got annoying to me.
Yeah, I felt
and
that way.
He just wasn't. It's not that I didn't want the original Flash Thompson, the bully, the big, buff guy that walks around.
I kind of did.
That would have been interesting against Peter Parker, but I totally see what they're going for.
Right.
It just didn't work as well as I had hoped it would.
Yeah.
He kind of played that cocky rich kid who doesn't have any friends,
right.
like that type of thing.
Right,
he just wasn't really a bully.
Right,
you know?
right. And they didn't get the moment where Peter stood up to him.
Exactly, like in Spider-Man or the original the Amazing Spider-Man too.
Even though that was one of the few things I really disliked about the Amazing Spider-Man was that ridiculous basketball thing. That was stupid.
Just a new way of doing it, I guess. So.
But I liked him. He was, fine as his performance. You really did dislike him. Like,
he's a dick.
But yeah, he really was.
Yeah.
But they could have done better.
Yeah, and the second one for me, and a lot of people make it. I can make it flack for this, but I wasn't the biggest fan of the upgraded suit, and the reason being is because that's Iron Man, not Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I totally see what they're going for.
Yeah.
It's a new take on the character, but I don't want a mini Iron Man. He literally had another version of Jarvis in his suit. That's not what makes Spider-Man special.
Yeah, I've been back and forth on that.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool, but it's weird to have an all techie Spider-Man suit. The Spider-Man exists in, you see I got my Stark Industries shirt.
There you go.
In a Tony Stark Avengers universe.
Yep.
He made him his suit. I think the thing that they did well, though, is that for the film's climax, his final fight, he had to wear his old suit.
Yep.
And rely on his own,
which was
Spider-Man
really cool.
Yeah.
Kind of, brought the character back to life.
Yeah.
What I thought was cool, though, was the way he kind of figured out how to break the suit open.
Yeah.
And it just kind of
Jailbroke
adds another,
the suit.
Yeah, and from the training wheels protocol or whatever it
Which
was.
is funny, yeah.
And all these kind of things pop up, and it's not that I didn't like it. I think the best word I can say is that I was just kind of uncomfortable with it. It's because it's like they're almost trying to bring in another Iron Man in a way, which plays with the theme of the movie because Tony Stark wants him to be better than himself.
Right.
And it kind of fits with what's going on.
Right.
But at the same time, that's not what kind of makes Spider-Man special. Like, he's struggling with the whole web factor of figuring out what web is which web and everything, and just let him swing from buildings.
Kill mode, which was hilarious.
Oh,
so
dude, his eyes turned red.
Would you like me to go kill mode? He's like, no.
That was so, Well, his relationship with the AI was awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
Him and Karen, and the way he kind of sits in his room and talks to her, is just hilarious. It's a total Peter Parker move.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, as far as negatives, that's my take, and that's really it. There's nothing really else that we can talk about as far as negatives go because the movie was just so good.
Yeah.
And because of that, we're going to get into kind of our spoilers part of this review. We have a bunch of things to talk about. I think the first thing we do want to talk about is the origin. And it was literally one sentence in the movie, which personally for me, I was totally fine with.
Me too.
I was totally fine with because we've seen it 2 times before.
Yeah. Everyone knows it.
And the one line, I got bit by a spider, you're good to go.
That's it.
Good to
that
go.
Was that was
perfect.
And
it wasn't a radioactive spider. It wasn't a 12-legged spider.
Yeah.
I was bit by a spider.
And he didn't. That was it. It was just a quick cut to that scene.
Well, and it's funny because in Ned, who we'll get into, but Ned's like, well, what do you mean? And he's like, let's not get into it.
Yeah.
Because Ned's us, and he's Peter Parker, and we don't need the answers. We just need to know he got bit by a spider.
Exactly. And that's a perfect way of because the audience already knows.
Exactly.
And that's Peter acknowledging to the audience, you guys already know.
Yeah.
So we don't need to get back into it again.
Yeah, and it was a great quick thing. Move on. It's over and done with. We don't need to go into the whole flashback sequence and we're at a laboratory scientific stuff. Just throw the one sentence in there, worked out. So
I feel like they will probably.
Well, because I think they're gonna have to go in this past at some point.
Yeah.
At some point it'll work.
Especially if this other character, which we'll get to, shows up. I think they'll have to address
for sure. So I guess the next thing we talk about, which is probably one of the biggest things, is the upgraded Spider-Man suit.
Oh, really quick. Sorry to go back.
No, you're good.
Go back on the origin. I noticed they didn't even mention Uncle Ben once.
They didn't. They kind of mentioned it without his name. They kind of like beat around the bush on him.
I think he said something when he was debating with Ned about whether or not to tell.
Aunt May's been through too much.
Everything she's been through. That was it.
Which will be interesting to see if we ever see any kind of flashback.
Yeah.
Because that's a huge part in his life.
Yeah. And when they first announced Michael Keaton, I thought for sure that's who he was playing. Was Uncle Ben.
Interesting.
And so we'll see.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting going forward because the relationship between Aunt May and Peter Parker, which we'll get into later on, is a special one in this movie.
Yeah.
And we already know that she's already been through a ton, and obviously something that pays off at the end of the movie we're going to see some kind of flashbacks going on because of that specific ending. So, but next, the upgraded Spider-Man suit. We already kind of got into it. We could talk about the one he wears in the movie, but also let's talk about the one at the end of the movie and what the possibilities are. And because this is a spoiler review, the Iron Spider suit.
Yeah.
And we see it for the first time. We don't see it on Peter Parker.
Right.
Tony Stark, obviously, because he's the god given to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He makes everything. He creates the Iron Spider suit for Peter Parker as his welcome to the Avengers.
Yeah.
And it's a really cool look. It's a take on the comic version, but also a very upgraded Tony Stark version.
Right.
And so first of all, let's your thoughts on the whole AI thing and what could possibly go forward with that, because he does have it. But also, do you want to see him in the Iron Spider suit, and when do you think we'll see the Iron Spider suit?
Well, as far as the AI, I liked it. I got used to it. I think, like I said, we mentioned, he lost it. Tony took it away from him.
Yep.
He had to go back to his old suit. So when he gets it back in the end, you do kind of, I felt like he kind of, okay, he's earned this.
He has earned it.
This new upgraded suit. I don't know if, look, for this kid to be having Tony Stark take him under his wing, it would be insane for him to not have
some kind of tech
something.
thing.
Yeah. I mean, I can accept that. I know there's some Spider-Man purists out there that will never accept that, but in this movie universe that he exists in, it's
well, it fits.
It's okay.
You can't have a teenage hero fighting Thanos without just a spandex suit.
And that's the thing I was going to get to next, as far as the Iron Spider suit, which looked cool. Didn't seem to have the arms that comes out.
Well, as far as we know, they might have been Tony Stark. Who knows what he's doing with that?
Yeah. So
invisible or something.
Right. Exactly. So I bet you will see that in one of the next Avengers movies.
I would think he would have to put it on after something happens in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, because he can't handle what's going on with the suit he has, or the suit that gets destroyed.
Yeah.
And he kind of has to go forward with it. But yeah, for me, I was a little bit uncomfortable with the AI suit. As far as the Iron Spider suit, I loved seeing it. I freaked out when I saw it. I was so stoked because I was one of the few that knew exactly what it was. Yeah. A lot of people don't know what it is.
Yeah.
They're like, Iron Spider, what is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, and the coloring, I thought the coloring was really cool.
It was interesting.
It's not the red and gold. It's a little bit of navy blue in there. Yeah. You can tell it's metal. It's got the shiny to it.
Yeah.
I love the logo as well. It's very classic but very modern.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting us to see it at some point, whether that's Avengers Infinity War, Avengers 4, but I don't think we'll see it from there on out.
Probably
I think it'll be like a specialty suit that he uses for certain situations, just as a little backup plan.
Something big.
But it was a nice little tease to the fans who know it, a little Easter egg for us, think, oh my God, he's gonna wear the suit.
Yeah.
He's gonna wear the suit. He's gonna be protected. He's gonna have a lot more powers. But speaking of his powers, the one big thing that a lot of people are kind of hardcore Spider-Man fans are like, what the hell? No spider sense. No spider sense. I know this is what you really, really want to talk about.
Yeah.
What do you think about the no spider sense in this movie anyway?
In this movie, yeah, you're right. We didn't see it. I think he does have it.
Well, and I think the one scene we can talk about is the bank robbery scene.
Yeah.
Where he's dodging, fists left and right. And you can, it's like obvious he kind of has something, but it's not front and center like they did the Sam Raimi movies.
It's not like that, and we saw a little bit of it in Civil War. There was a brief scene where Winter Soldier is hurling a car at him. He was facing one way, and he just picks his head up, his eyes get big, goes, oh God, and turns, and there's a car flying at him. And so, to me, and there was no sound. I think it made like a little sound.
They're teasing.
It's kind of like the force.
They're like teasing.
And there was no kind of thing coming, like some kind of
no slow motion effects
or anything like that.
Little things coming off his head.
Like in the original one. So, we'll see. I think that, again, he's just tapping into what he can do.
He's only had these powers for, I want to say, probably like 3 or 4 years.
It's been, I don't know if it's that long. Because he said it was about 6 months in Civil War.
You're right. So probably his freshman year of high school.
But
he's probably had it for about a year.
About a year, maybe. Yeah. So he's still just tapping into what he can do.
Yeah, so, for me, I was totally fine with no spider sense.
Yeah.
Because of the overabundance we've had in the previous franchises, or the previous movies.
Right.
And specifically the Sam Raimi ones, because it became such a focus.
Yeah.
Like, it was almost his main power, the spider sense. He saw something coming. And the scene that always comes out to me is in Spider-Man 2, when him and Mary Jane are in the diner, and Doc Ock throws the car, and it's just coming from behind him. He senses something, he turns around. And so I don't want to see that blatant focus on that.
Right.
If it's just like a Civil War, oh god, he turns around and it's there or something, totally cool.
Yeah, that's it.
As long as it's not like one of the focuses, I want to see his other powers, what he can do. So I was totally cool with those Spider-Sense for me.
Yeah, and they don't have to do everything exactly the way the other movies did. You know, even if we never see it again, to me, it's one of those things I didn't even notice it until
people start saying
talking
something.
about it. People,
the hardcore people are like, what the hell? No Spider-Sense?
So the movie's good enough that you don't even really realize it.
What if they create a different kind of character with maybe even new things, which is what they're almost going for?
Right.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's
as long as the movie's good and the character's good, people are satisfied.
Yeah.
So, well, moving on to a little bit of character stuff. One of the big things that was revealed at the end of the movie, Zendaya's character Michelle. Her name is Michelle. I'm not sure if you know her last name or not.
Jones.
Michelle Jones. Cool. Michelle Jones. She actually reveals that her nickname, her friends call her MJ. And she's not Mary Jane Watson.
Right.
So it's been teased, ever since she was casted that she'd be playing a version of Mary Jane Watson.
Yeah.
That is not the case. She's playing a character called Michelle, and there's actually a character called Michelle in the comics. I believe that they're college roommates or something, or some kind of best friends or something like that.
I think is it in the Ultimates?
I think it's in the Ultimates, and there's some kind of, I want to say they're almost roommates in a way.
Yeah, something like that.
And they're like good friends, but she has not a ton of screen time in this movie. But that reveal at the end of the movie obviously is setting up something bigger.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about her character, Michelle. Did you like her? And second, do you like the kind of twist they're putting on the MJ character?
Michelle was hilarious.
Yeah.
She was
very subtle, just like blatant, point blank forward.
Yeah, she was great. I thought she was, along with Ned, which we'll get to him, she was really funny in the little bit of time she had. I don't really know much about Zendaya.
She's a Disney Channel star, from what I've heard.
Yeah,
she's in that. She's a singer. She's in a movie with Hugh Jackman coming up.
Yeah,
the Greatest Showman.
P.T. Barnum movie.
Yeah, and her character.
Pretty good in that too.
I also liked her too because she was so. I'm against everyone, but I want to be involved in everything.
Yeah,
like she wouldn't show it, you know, and it kind of came out towards the end.
Yeah,
but I'm happy that they're doing this kind of turn on the character.
Yeah,
it makes it interesting and fun,
The MJ thing. Is interesting because, like you said, she's not Mary Jane. So the fact that they're going to call her MJ, so she's is Mary Jane Watson out there somewhere still?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because they teased that again. Not to keep going back to the other movies, but they're supposed to be there was no Mary Jane in the Amazing Spider-Man.
They were supposed to, but they cut her out.
And they cut her out. She was supposed to be. I think Shailene Woodley was supposed to play her. Yep. And so I wonder if they're maybe thinking of doing that same thing because people think of Spider-Man, like with you got Superman, Lois Lane, Tony Stark and Pepper in the movie universe, and people think of Spider-Man, you think of
Mary Jane Watson.
Mary Jane Watson as his love. He's had others like Gwen Stacy
was the high school girlfriend.
Brady Brant, who is in this movie.
She is, and played by Angourie Rice, who was phenomenal in The Nice Guys.
Yeah,
she was so good.
That's the daughter. Yeah, so. I don't know. Again, it's one of those things I go back to. They don't have to do everything that they did in the previous movies. So we may never see Mary Jane Watson. They might just use this character and call her MJ and, see where they go from there. But Zendaya was great.
She is, and she brings something different than what Kirsten Dunst brought, what Emma Stone brought to the Gwen Stacy character. She's just a different kind of character and actress that plays her.
Yeah.
I'm cool with her being called MJ.
Yeah.
It would be weird if they had MJ and Mary Jane Watson.
Yeah.
So it makes me believe that they're not going to do a Mary Jane Watson.
And Mary Jane Watson, and the fact that this Michelle was on this academic decathlon team, but Mary Jane Watson, we love her. She wouldn't be on.
She's just the hot girl to look at.
She's a party girl, and she wasn't. Yeah. So.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's an interesting, and it'll be interesting going forward to see if the sequel kind of brings the little fling between them forward.
Yeah.
So
because
we saw a little bit of fling with Peter and Liz.
Yeah.
And for me personally, as I was watching the movie, I was totally fighting for them to be together.
Me too.
I loved what was going on. Because the popular girl, the senior, he's the sophomore, quiet guy, nerd, and they're on the decathlon team together, which is an interesting to put all of them together on a team. Yeah. Even Flash was on the team.
That's again, that was kind of a weird.
It was odd, but as this movie was going on, I was fighting for Peter to kind of get that one chance with him. And even though we didn't get it, it was a cool ending to kind of move forward. It was a good one-off. love interest crush type thing because he's a sophomore, she's a senior. Right. And obviously the twist that we hear is that Michael Keaton is actually her father. Right. But what did you think about the Liz factor and also any other supporting characters as far as his high school buddies go?
Liz was great. I'm not familiar with that actress.
I think her name is Laura
Haddock. I think
Laura
Haddock or
Harry.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, she was great, and they almost got there. I love the scene in the hallway.
Oh, with the hall pass.
When he
that was so good.
It's really funny.
It was so good.
All the scenes where he's just kind of admiring her from a distance. That's one thing.
So awkward.
Yeah.
So
and I think that's Peter. It's Peter Parker, and I think all the movies have actually done that well.
Well, and that reminds me of the scene that Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone had in Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
When he's asking you out to hang out, he's like, "Well, what do you want to do? Like, we can do this." Or,
yes.
And that's exactly what that reminded me of.
Yeah. And I like you. She's like, "Yeah, I know."
That's so funny.
You do? Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, that's a classic Peter Parker thing to do, and I like that she wasn't like against it. Like she was never just like ignoring him.
Yeah.
She was the popular girl who admired him.
Yeah.
And admired who he was. And yeah, so I was totally fighting for them, and obviously getting into the other characters, I think the one we really want to talk about is Ned. Ned is the guy we want to be. He is the guy in the chair.
Yeah.
The guy in the chair that we all want to be.
Yeah.
So what were some of the favorite things about Ned?
Well, he was great. I didn't remember his name.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Not sure.
He was outstanding. Probably the best kind of sidekick character we've had in any in any of the MCU. Off the top of my head that I can think of. But he was hilarious, like you said. He was us. He was the audience. He was the scene, and we saw it. They teased it to death in the trailers. But when he sneaks into his room
with the Death Star,
with
the Lego Death Star,
the way the camera panned over, and he's just standing there going,
"Yep." He goes, "You're the Spider-Man from YouTube."
Yeah, that was hilarious.
So like, good.
I have to tell everybody. I can't keep this a secret, and that's exactly how.
Every single person would ask that question.
Yeah.
And then the next scene is them in gym class, and the hot girls are talking about Spider-Man, and he yells out, "Peter knows Spider-Man." It's like that is exactly what any of us would do.
Yeah.
The entire movie, he was making comments and doing things exactly how us audience members would do it.
And the way Peter reacted is how we would react.
So
like, what are you doing?
So good.
Tell them that. So that was great. And their relationship was great.
Their relationship was fantastic, and the handshake.
Yeah.
Like it's such a bromance, like what all of us had with our best buddies in high school or now. It's a classic high school relationship between best friends, and they're the nerds who kind of don't stand out. They're hiding under the covers. They want to build the Lego Death Star together.
Yeah.
Even Ned puts on the mask at one point. Like he's exactly who we want to be, and then he finally gets his moment later in the movie where he becomes the guy in the chair.
Yeah.
And he probably has the line of the movie where the teacher comes in. "What are you doing?" "I'm watching porn." A Spider-Man movie.
And that's all you can think of.
I'm watching porn. Like, and it's funny because it's something you would expect from him because he has to throw it off.
Right.
But I love seeing him in his moment, guy in the chair going back and forth between computers, having a total blast. So yeah, Ned was one of the highlights of this movie for sure. I'm excited going forward.
Yeah.
But any other of the high school characters that kind of stand out, we didn't get much of them.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the other side characters like Michael Keaton, so maybe some of the villains.
Oh well, let's get into those guys. Yeah, Bokeem Woodbine, excuse me, as the Shocker.
Is that the first Shocker or the second Shocker?
Second Shocker.
Second Shocker. So the first Shocker was played. I forget his name, but he was in Prometheus. He was the lead guy in Prometheus, and that's where I recognized him from. But yeah, he played the first Shocker, who was a big part of the first kind of, I want to say like first act of the movie. Yeah. And then the second Shocker took over.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. He's a great character actor. Been in a bunch of things. Bokeem Woodbine. He's a good actor who also did not die. So we'll probably see him. Yeah.
He is out there.
Sure, we'll see him.
And
if they really do this Sinister Six thing, it seems like they're.
And he's one of the few guys that didn't get on the bad side of Vulture.
Right.
Because Vulture didn't kill him.
Yeah.
He just let him walk. And so that's a very interesting. Where is he? What's he doing? Yeah. Are we going to see the full Shocker-esque type thing in a sequel?
Yeah.
Especially if they do the Sinister Six type thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was definitely a good part of it. I love the kind of way they not passed the torch, but he kind of came in hand of the Shocker. Yeah. The Shocker stuff.
Yeah. And you could see him. He didn't like it at first, and then as he was
kind of got used to it.
I kind of like this thing.
So that was cool.
They're setting that up.
What did you think about the Tinker? How he kind of played into it?
He was good. He was good. He was again not a whole lot to do, but It was interesting to. I don't know a lot about Tinker.
Neither do I. He just built stuff, as far as I know.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of
the Toy Man.
The toy
from
toy,
DC.
Yeah, whatever.
DC guy. Toy Maker. Yeah.
Reminded me of him. So again, all these guys, none of them died.
Well, it's interesting too because we were not expecting. So everyone goes back to how the Spider-Man movies, they set up too many villains.
Yeah.
They have 3. This movie has 5 villains.
There's a bunch of them, but they didn't all.
And they set them up perfectly.
Yeah.
Nothing is too big.
Right.
And all of them but one work under Michael Keaton. They're all in his crew. Yeah. Which is a very interesting way to kind of expand it out.
Yeah.
The only one that didn't operate in his crew but met his crew is Donald Glover's. Forget his
name's
the Prowler.
Davis. Aaron Davis.
Aaron Davis, but it's
and they call him the Prowler.
The Prowler. Yes. And so his character is also out there, and he actually made an interesting comment in the movie, which could set up something in the future. He said, "I have a nephew in the city."
I almost jumped out of my seat in the theater when he said that. Because I had forgotten his name. So when they showed, I think the Karen. I think they showed who they all were and all their real names. And they showed that his name was Aaron Davis, and I didn't catch it because I couldn't remember. I was thinking like, what's his name? I couldn't remember. I was like, it's probably not him. And then when he made that line, I want you to get rid of these weapons. My nephew lives in this neighborhood. I went, oh, he's Miles Morales' uncle.
Yeah, so that sets up very interesting things going forward. Obviously, this Peter Parker is only 15 years old. Yeah. So I don't know if we'll see Miles Morales for a while.
Probably not.
But it'll be interesting because Tom Holland's talked about playing this character for a long time. Yeah. We could see a double Spider-Man thing going on. And it would be very cool going forward. But going back to the villains, these villains are still out here. Yeah. And it goes into the post-credit scene, which is not the Captain America one, but the I guess you could say the mid-credit scene. Yeah. We see Vulture in prison. He comes face-to-face with Scorpion, who was in his crew, and he says he's got guys on the outside who want to meet his friend. And he asks, he's like, "Hey, I heard you know who Spider-Man is. I know who he is." And Vulture says, "If I know who he is, he would be dead." Which is a really cool dynamic. Yeah. Because he respects him because not only did he save his daughter's life, but he saved his life. So it's interesting going forward. I don't think we'll ever see Michael Keaton back, nor do I want to see him back.
Well, I don't know.
I think I would love to see a Sinister Six outside of the Vulture because I think he was a great intro. Keep him in prison, let the Scorpion do his thing. Yeah. Because there's all kinds of villains like the Shocker, the Tinkerer, the Prowler. There's all kinds of other villains out there that we've never met. Yeah. I would not mind if they kept Michael Keaton out of it.
I don't know. I think that a guy like Michael Keaton, they got it.
He's the
god. I would imagine they'll bring him back. An actor of his stature.
Don't get me wrong. I would love to see him back because he's one of my favorites. Yeah. But I think it would be really cool if they kind of left it be.
I definitely don't think it'll be in the next movie.
Yeah. So, and I hope it's not. I hope they don't do the Sinister Six in the next movie.
Yeah, same here.
I hope they introduce another villain that we have not seen yet on screen.
What I really wanted, as far as the post-credit, I know I'm skipping ahead. We'll get to the post-credit scene, but as far as this one, I was thinking about it later on that night. It's like I'm really wishing that in that prison scene when he's walking, instead of the Scorpion, it was Wilson Fisk.
Oh my God!
In the same prison.
I did not even think about that.
Kingpin. That would have.
That would have blown. See, I would not have been expecting that, but I know who he is. But if Vincent D'Onofrio walked up,
if it was him, and that would have.
You know what that would have called for? That would have almost guaranteed a Spider-Man Daredevil team up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God! I'm losing my mind right now. It never even crossed my mind.
That's what I was thinking. I was like,
never even crossed my mind.
It would have been him in that prison, but yeah.
That would have been so cool.
Still not out of the.
Do you think it'll ever happen? Do you think we'll ever see those Netflix heroes cross over?
Feige it sounds like he's starting to come around a little bit on it. I don't know if it'll happen anytime soon, but a character like Kingpin.
The chance to do it is in Avengers 3 and 4.
Right.
Because that's all the heroes.
Or in their Phase 4. But that particular character, as he's a Spider-Man villain initially, he's more associated now with Daredevil.
Yes.
But man, that would be a great opportunity to do that.
I never even thought about that. I have goosebumps right now. I literally have goosebumps right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that would have been awesome, and it's still not out of the question.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting because he's just a big brute with firepower. He's not the Scorpion or all these characters, so that would be a really cool take. Because if so far we've seen Spider-Man fight, Green Goblin, Doc Ock with arms, the Sandman, Venom, Lizard. And the younger Green Goblin, Lizard. and then Rhino and Electro, and then the Green Goblin again.
Yeah.
All super powered or some kind of tech savvy beings.
Right.
This guy's just a big brute.
Yeah.
He just kicks ass.
That's it.
And so it'd be interesting to see Spider-Man go up against him because he has all kinds of firepower against him.
Right.
And it would either call for either Spider-Man Daredevil team up or Spider-Man Punisher team up, which that would be crazy. But I don't know if that would work because Punisher is so R.
Yeah.
Especially in the Netflix world.
Yeah.
And we'll see that later this year in this series.
Yeah.
But man, you made my, that is awesome. That would be a dream to see. So yeah, I mean, as far as the last thing that we could probably talk about, and it's the way the movie ended, is the first time we've ever seen it on screen.
Yeah.
It's happened a few times in the comics, but Aunt May now knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And there was a comic run, I think it was like the 70s or 80s, that Aunt May basically found the suit in the laundry.
Yep.
And this time, Peter gets the suit back from Tony Stark and puts it on. He's putting the mask on. He turns around. You can see Aunt May walk around the corner, and she basically just yells, "What the?"
Yeah.
And it cuts off. It's perfect, just perfect. So going forward, that's interesting because it could bring a lot of danger going forward. And she's never known. First of all, Marissa Tomei, perfect Aunt May, especially for a younger Tom Holland.
Great. Yeah.
And she's just downright gorgeous.
She is.
She is one of the most beautiful women in Hollywood. So, but it sets up a very, very interesting dynamic, not just for those two characters together, but everyone around them.
Well, first to touch on Marissa Tomei, I love that the movie pointed out how attractive she is.
Oh yeah.
The scene with the waiter.
Oh my God,
yeah. That was for Tony Stark, obviously back in Civil War. And I love how when this movie starts, she's like, I don't like that Tony Stark. There's something about that I don't like. It's really funny.
So funny.
But I don't mind her knowing the secret. It's the same thing happened a few years ago with Man of Steel, with Lois Lane.
Yep, they're kind of changing the game.
Good. Because one of the things, some of the comic book character TV shows we see is the character, the alter ego trying to hide his real identity from everybody he knows and loves. It's an old trope. We've seen it a million times, and it's always them carrying the burden of this secret.
Yep.
We don't
especially
need
to a sophomore in high school.
Exactly. It's he's got enough he's trying to deal with. He doesn't need to be trying to.
He's trying to become a flipping Avenger for God's sake.
Right, and deal with people trying to drown him and shoot at him and electrocute him and all this other stuff. It's okay that Aunt May knows. They're going to have those clashes where she doesn't want him doing what he's doing.
Yep.
So that can be a different set of problems he can deal with. But it's better than him trying to hide.
Well, there's two things. One, when will we see that relationship? Like, are we going to see that in Infinity War?
Yeah.
Because if we don't see it in Infinity War, we have to wait a long 3 years until we see it happen in the Spider-Man sequel. I imagine we'll see it in Infinity War or Avengers 4. Because I think Avengers 4 will see more Spider-Man. Yeah. Because it's going to be the new fold characters going forward.
They say he's going to be setting off the Phase 4.
His sequel is going to pick up right after, minutes after.
Yeah, so it depends on how far ahead it's going to be in the timeline when they pick that up. If he's living on his own, and there's not a whole lot they can do in terms of trying to stop him, but at the same time, it's going to be maybe, and another thing that we didn't get in this movie is the line of the great power coming.
Tony Stark, he kind of twisted it in a way, in a very Tony Stark manner, and they seem like Tony Stark is giving him, all this stuff that the classic Spider-Man origin is coming from, and it's coming from Tony Stark, which I'm totally cool with.
Yeah, me too.
Because he's really just the pinnacle of this universe.
Well, not only that, but it really shows how far Tony Stark, his arc has come.
Oh, he's
the first Iron Man.
Yeah, 10 years
till now, and
9 years.
The way his character has changed over time, and to where he was this brash, young, irresponsible guy, and now he's
a father figure. Yeah. Well, and he says it. He Peter Parker's like, I'm nothing without the suit. He says, well, if you're nothing with the suit, you shouldn't have it at all.
And that was a great scene. That was probably the best scene in the movie, certainly in terms of emotional and dramatic tension, because that's literally exactly what Tony Stark went through. If you go back to Iron Man 3.
All the way through it, from his aftermath of Avengers.
And all the way through Avengers, where he had to be without his suit for a little bit of time and really realize who he is. And, I don't need the suit. I don't need the arc reactor. He doesn't have the thing in his chest anymore.
But we see those in the movie.
That's right.
We see those in the movie, so that is interesting going forward. Yeah. There's a little tease for what's to come. Yeah. So. But it's the Tony Stark character, he has grown so much, and we haven't even touched on him yet. Yeah. his character has gone from leaps and bounds from when we first met him. I think he was the perfect character to kind of bring him in the fold of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He's bringing him in, and going back to that line on top of that building where he says, if you nothing without suit, you shouldn't have it at all. He responds later on in the movie with a very Tony Stark manner. That was probably my best line. No, that probably wasn't my best opinion or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Just a very Tony Stark thing, and I love the end of the movie with him where he gets denied. He's like, "Oh, good day, Mr. Parker."
Yeah.
Like just very he's like kind of butthurt about it.
Yeah.
And then walks in Pepper Potts.
Boy, that was a shock.
Yeah.
Shock.
Which I love seeing Gwyneth Paltrow back because their relationship has been one of the best in the Marvel universe.
In probably all of comic movies.
She brings a dynamic out of him that nobody else can bring.
Yeah. Yeah, she's one of the few people that can, put him in his place.
Yeah. Robert Downey Jr. and Gwyneth Paltrow, them together is awesome.
They're awesome.
I hope we see more of her. And I
didn't think we'd see her again.
I love that the whole ring thing too.
Yeah.
And he goes, "I've had this since 2008," which was the first Iron Man, obviously.
Yeah.
So that was a great little intro and tease of maybe seeing her in the future, and who knows? But it could also mean bad things for Tony Stark because Avengers Infinity War is right around the corner. There's been all this talk about Robert Downey Jr. possibly retiring or dying in a movie, possibly.
Maybe.
Which I think probably that would be the best way to go out for him because there's no way he can live without being Iron Man. There's not.
They teased it a little bit in Age of Ultron where that was his, the Scarlet Witch. He played on his biggest fear was losing everyone. And it being his fault. And that's the thing that I know is still in his mind. That's the reason he did everything he did in that movie, as far as creating Ultron and everything he's trying to do now to make up for it. So that was a great scene, and I love the way it was a little bit of a nod to the Civil War comic, to where Tony convinced Spider-Man to
out himself,
tell everyone who he was, except he didn't do it, of course. And so that was a nice nod. I like that. I like that scene. And of course, is this a test? Yeah, you're right. And then they open the door and there's
all those reporters
out there. That was really funny.
Yeah, so I think the one last thing that we could probably talk about, and I don't think a lot of people are catching this, but the beginning of the movie, it starts off with Avengers, the aftermath of Avengers, and the damage control coming in, meeting Michael Keaton's crew. They're kind of this pickup crew, and then it fast forwards 8 years.
Yeah,
and it's kind of a time gap that doesn't really make sense in the Marvel universe.
Right.
And so, is that just kind of this movie maybe just picking a year, or is it kind of maybe planning something? Because if for all we know, Civil War last year took place in 2016.
Right.
And this movie would mean it's 4 years later, which doesn't fit the timeline.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an odd thing that this movie would take place in 2020, if in fact Civil War was 2016.
I know for sure Winter Soldier took place in real time. So it was
that means Civil War is in 2016.
So I think it is.
Which is an odd time place.
Yeah.
Because they talk about how Captain America is still a war criminal in the movie.
Right.
And, he's still learning from Tony Stark in this movie, the Tony Stark internship. And that
they mentioned the teacher. There was a teacher that was talking about the Sokovia Accords.
Yeah, and he was watching video. And he wouldn't be doing that 4 years down the road. So it's kind of an interesting thing going
I think, there was a little graphic. I think it said after the Civil War, when he got back, 4 months or whatever later, 3 months.
So
later.
yeah, so it's at least a couple months.
So it's close
later.
enough. I think.
Yeah.
So
the time gap is a little strange.
Year-ish, maybe.
So maybe the Marvel universe is kind of taking a time jump. As far as I know, no Marvel movie has set a date or put dates on screen yet.
Yeah.
Saying, March 13th, 2009 or whatever it is. This is kind of the first time we've seen a real time thing going on. And now it's screwing with everyone.
Not to mention, I don't want to make this too confusing with everything that Doctor Strange did with the timeline.
Yeah, seriously.
Because they were talking about that, the consequences of what he did.
That is true. That is
very
true.
Everything that was happening in the world. He spun
It's almost like an X-Men thing.
Yeah. So
it's like an X-Men thing.
We'll see.
Yeah. Well, I think the one last thing that we can talk about is the final post-credit scene, Captain America. And it's kind of an interesting thing because I always thought as I was watching it, it's just him joking around that we're hoping for some other second post-credit scene to Thor Ragnarok or Infinity War.
Yeah.
But I read something on social media earlier today that's very interesting. What if it was a jab at Batman v Superman? Saying we didn't wait for something, we've been waiting for something we never got. Like, what if it was just a small jab that was unintended?
Wonder Woman as well.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been Suicide Squad or the past Spider-Mans. I mean, who knows? But it was a cool little scene because we got those little markets from Captain America as the movie went on, and you know, the PE class or
they set
in
it
detention.
up all throughout the movie, so it was,
he comes in, he's like, "Oh, how many more of these PSAs we need to do?" So it was cool to see Chris Evans back. He's my favorite of the universe, so I always love seeing him on screen. I hope he makes it at an Infinity War because I would love to see him in a Spider-Man movie. Yeah, because I think he could do a little some cool things with Spider-Man because they are from New York.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, and they set that up. You know, where are you from, kid? Queens, from Brooklyn. So they've already got that bond. So I think they'll be on screen together.
Yeah. Well, to wrap this up, Keith, give me your one last thought of Spider-Man: Homecoming. Everything that kind of set up going forward, what you're looking forward to, and an overall score out of 10.
Oh man, can't wait to see it again. Love this movie. Like I said, I'm somebody that I haven't been that high on all the other Spider-Man movies. I really liked the Amazing Spider-Man, the first one. The Raimi trilogy. You know, we'll leave out Spider-Man 3 because it wasn't good at all. The first two I loved at the time. I'm not one of those people that thinks they're classic. I just, you know,
they started off the superhero genre, and now we kind of moved on.
We wouldn't be here, you know, where we are without them. So I appreciate them. But this one, it's not even close. It's not even close. I'm not accepting any arguments about which one's the best. Tom Holland's the best Spider-Man. I think we've seen enough of him within this one movie and his cameo last year. He's got it. The way they've incorporated into the MCU, I think, is very well done. Hopefully, they'll keep this relationship going, Sony and Marvel, because they got a good thing going, and it's very well done. This movie was very well. You can tell the script was tight. All of the acting was all great.
I hope Jon Watts comes back.
There were no wasted moments. Yeah, I think he's great. I'd love to see him direct again. What can I say? I mean, I love it. Love this movie.
So, what do you think? Score out of 10?
Score out of 10, I would give it a, I'm going to say 9.5.
Wow.
9.5
nice. I like it. No, I'm going to echo everything he said. It is truly the not the perfect, but the nearest perfect Spider-Man movie we can get. Yeah. The nearest perfect. Tom Holland is not only the best Spider-Man, but the best Peter Parker. Yeah. He embodies this character. Yeah. Everything around him is surrounding the supporting character, the story, the villains. This movie is very, very tight. Yeah. It's very sound. It's compact. It's exactly what it needed to be kick off in this Marvel Cinematic Universe Spider-Man. Yeah. Even though we got a little bit of a tease of him last year, and they did a very well job of incorporating all the Sony side of things, as far as the character rights and what can be included in this universe as well. Yeah. I'm so excited to go see it again. I was going to go see it tonight, but I got home late. I hope I can go see it tomorrow. I'm so pumped. I want to go see it 5, 6, 7 more times. Yeah. And it just gets me excited going forward for what this universe could hold with this character. Yeah. You know, his relationship with not only characters like Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, Black Panther, and he even says, "Oh, who's that new guy in this movie?" Which is really cool. Yeah. But for me, I'm gonna give Spider-Man: Homecoming a 9 out of 10. Not too far from Keith, but obviously you can tell that we both really, really love this movie. Yeah. It is worth your dollar, and probably in the biggest screen possible. Absolutely, it is worth every cent that you pay for this. Yeah. And we're even enthused about the 3D because it was really done, really good in 3D. Very good, really good. So. That is it for us here at Apocalypse, our review of Spider-Man: Homecoming, a little spoiler discussion. Make sure you follow us on YouTube and Apocalypse Movies. Check out Padawan Podcast, Comic Hero Talk, our movie reviews, trailer reactions, everything we got going on here. Before we get out of here, thank you, Keith, for joining me today. Love talking this movie with you, man. Absolutely. Let them know where they can find you online.
You can find me on Twitter at KeithBarnes79.
Awesome. And you can find me, Jake Berlin, at Qui-Gon Jake on Twitter and Instagram. ApocalypseMovies.com every day. Make sure you check us out, subscribe, click like, share, comments. Let's have a discussion about it. We're always welcome to having some fun conversations with you guys. And until next time, see you later.